Hello and welcome back, fellow bad strategists. We're here again in Europatha, and I have learned more things. I have also verified these guys have 14 readiness, and they're dying 300. So yeah, they're definitely starving. I was a little skeptical about that, but it does appear to be occurring. Okay, thing I learned, thing I was wrong about. Okay. Your defense skill. Attack is not rolled against defense. Defense is your counterattack capability. Okay, right? So basically our Zions, our assault guns, are better at counterattacking than they are at attacking, which is very interesting. What attack is rolled against is your hit points, which is very yes. So basically our Zions, the more armor you have, the more hit points, and your effectively the number is, I think it's between 1 and, or maybe it's between 0 and your attack value, or if you're counterattacking, your defense value, and then that is rolled against the enemy's hit points, or 0 to their hit point value. And so against infantry, we would receive the infantry's hard attack, and we would roll between 0 and 406. If the infantry hard attack only goes as high, well, we have 150mm plating, so we'll reduce it to, I think, like we divide it by like 7.5, so maybe the infantry have 5 or 10 hard attack. They would roll 0 to 10, we would roll 0 to 406. If we roll above 10, they effectively can't inflict a hit on us. This is not the same as wound calculation, which is, I don't actually think the manual specifies how wounds are calculated, but I suspect it's based on firepower, because I have some funny ideas about how things work. But the manual says, based on your unit stats, there's a chance that your hit will be a pinning hit, or a kill hit. I don't know if there are other types of hits, I don't remember. Anyways, that's interesting and that's important, because it actually, that might change some of the way that we should interpret some of this information. But I still think you need heavy armor. In fact, this makes me think you need heavy armor even more. If you're fighting a minor regime, important to note, these guys, minor regime, all of their infantry are militia. So if we wanted to field a cheaper Zion, if we wanted to go down to 50mm plating, we could do that against a minor regime, because their infantry are militia, which means their infantry breaks sooner. And if their infantry breaks sooner, we receive fewer attacks. I'm also changing my position a little bit. So before I was thinking you want to send in more units of armor, more sub-units of armor, because the fewer you have, the more concentrated the attacks are, but knowing that hit points is something that's rolled against, and that it's not like a stored value, which I kind of suspected before, but I didn't fully comprehend properly, clearly. I'm actually thinking maybe only having one or two subunits is stronger, because each you have a finite number of counterattacks, right? Because each counterattack is less efficient than the last one. I'm not sure on the equations for that. But each attack against you, the more attacks you receive, the less efficient the attacks become. So if you only have two Zions, we push these into the enemy. Let's do it over here.
Let's go.
Each time they attack us, for every unit that attacked, they get a greater and greater penalty. I'm not sure if we can see it here, but like, yeah, we don't have enough recon, but presumably their attack mods would be going down for each successive attack, and you can see we received a large number of attacks. So fewer units might actually be viable if your units are sturdy enough not to be at threat of dying. Also, like, good firepower. It's one of those things where it's like, armor's the most expensive part of the vehicle, but it's also the most important part. That said, you need the firepower, and the firepower is cheap. So if you're getting heavy armor, you probably want heavy firepower. So if you want to make a cheap vehicle, you skimp on armor, unfortunately, because it's the only thing you really can skimp on to save a meaningful amount of money. But if you're skimping on armor, then you can't fight high morale troops. Are we a turn behind? My god, we are a turn behind. Did I load the wrong game? Hold on a moment. I'm gonna load. Hold on a moment. Alright, I apologize for that. Loaded the wrong game. We're loading the correct one now. This is where we... No, this looks different. This is the same. Hold on. This one looks right. I think this is the right save. I've named it wrong, so that's confusing, but this is the right save. I think. Probably. We'll hope. Okay. Yeah, so definitely I'm starting to feel that the greatest difficulty with this strategy, with the sort of, with a government-focused strategy where you prioritize government over everything, is unrest and the failure to recruit workers quickly. So I'm actually thinking a democracy government mind strategy would be much easier, because mind allows you to tech up. It's also easier to raise than fist, and it's less intrusive than it's easier event-wise. And democracy would help reduce the unrest issues you would have by raising quality of life and by giving you options and events to just not take unrest boosts. So maybe this is a stronger democracy government mind strategy than it is meritocracy government fist. I can tell you meritocracy government fist is clunky. If we weren't going to go democracy, you could go meritocracy government mind, and that would be more comfortable. I'm not sure if democracy government fist would be comfortable, because this is kind of a slow roller strategy in that you wanna sit back and build up your economy. We need to recover readiness. We need to recover fuel. We're having fuel shortages. We already bought fuel. We can't buy enough fuel. There's not enough on the market. How are our worker shortages? We're recruiting colonists, and that's preventing shortages, and also we're paying our workers a lot, and that's helping. Though we do have a lot of unrest. I would love to... Oh, can we kill them? If we can kill them, that'd be delightful.
Go! Enemy down!
Cool, okay, we can pull back some of these battalions to quell unrest, possibly militia. We'd rather pull back the militia, if we're being honest, which maybe we'll do right now. Our HQ should be able to hold up. It's two guards. Okay, well, the enemy's in bad shape, so it'll probably hold fine. Yeah, you can pull back. And do we want to... Yeah, anything to bring down the unrest is probably a good thing for us. You're not very happy. Are we paying you? Let's pay you. No, we're paying you 200. Increase 12 points. Oh, maybe we just set this. We may have just set this, so we may not have had time to really come into effect. We're probably already supporting the Eternity Movement. Militia projects wouldn't be bad, raising militancy. It's not very important, because really by this point, it's like you only get so many militia, but militia are great, and we do like them because they suppress unrest, and they don't take from our population to do it. Alright, we're gonna end this. The minor regime will... I can't imagine them not wanting to fight us. And when they do, they're probably gonna bring armor. Really? Okay, the threat from the major regime here, they like us though. They're being nice to us because maybe they're afraid of us. I think that's how the AI works. The big threat from them is not that they will bring armored units and break us because we don't have any anti-armor. The big threat from them is rather that they will out-tech us and then attack us. There's nothing wrong with being attacked by tanks in the position we're in, because we have tanks, and their tanks aren't going to beat our tanks. The problem is, if they research laser guns, and then they bring in laser tanks, we can't beat laser tanks. Even if they just bring in laser infantry, we'll have trouble holding the line against laser infantry. Yep, that has been my experience, that the big AI advantage and the big threat they present is in those tech, in out-teching you, which is another good argument for mind as opposed to what we took. I like Fist, I really do. It's just like I prioritize government so much that I never have my fist high enough for it to benefit me. So, and you can play games where you get your fist up to like 70, 80 pretty early on, and your government gets as high as quickly. It's just not very probable to happen, in my experience. I do not like this. I will say the other threat that they pose to us is in cutting off our supplies, because tanks that are cut off. Okay, we got pushed back. That's fair. That's fine. We don't mind that. Tanks that are cut off tend to starve to death, and that is not something we want to have happen. We'll hold the troops here, I think, because we'll be in the mountains and we'll entrench better. And maybe we'll scatter some defenders. I don't really want to put that much up here to defend, honestly. Though we may have to. Civ level, ooh, eager industrialist, very, very good. Teachers, yeah, that's all nice. So we have an Industry 1, which is not very good, and that's the same there. Okay, well, let's check. They're not building an industry, so we will up the Industry 1 to 2. If they were building an industry, we would wait for them to up it, but because they're not, we're just going to immediately eager industrialist. It is always better to let... It is nice when you can allow... What's our production? Yeah, we're not really overflowing on production. It is always really nice when the civilian economy builds up the industry before you play that card, because the benefits from upping from tier 2 to tier 3 are much greater than from tier 1 to tier 2. Like, I'll demonstrate that. I think I've mentioned that. 20 to 50 is a 30-point increase. 50 to 115 is a 65-point increase. So you don't want to play the level 1, because that just slows down, that delays the civilian economy will value upgrading from 1 to 2 and 2 to 3. It will value the 1 to 2 upgrade less than the 0 to 1 upgrade, and the 2 to 3 upgrade less than the 1 to 2 upgrade, and I assume it's because it costs more resources and they don't want to spend more resources. Oh, bad rations. That's fine. I think bad rations might reduce... I'm not sure if it reduces morale for our armored units. If it does... If it did, it'd be better to do it at the end of the turn rather than at the start, but I don't particularly mind. Traveling teachers... Yep.
Order received.
Okay, well, we really need to get fuel flowing in, and I would love to see what's going on up here. This is a mess. I can't even click on it. It's because it's detached and there's no city there, I think. But we'll see if we can figure out what's going on with the Ragers over here a bit better, and then we can find their settlement, and then we can push in. We'll push down the road. Just want to keep driving them back every turn and kill some of their troops and keep their readiness down.
Negative to breach.
That's fine, we didn't need a breach. No breach needed. MGs. Oh yeah. We'll put the MGs up there. I don't really want to risk them pushing through in a mean way, so we'll do that. And alright, I'm going to call this video here. I will see you next time. See you then.